This is actually me and my wife's first Wednesday night to be in here. We've never been here in almost 9 months. We've been here. We're always upstairs with the middle schoolers or in the back with the youth. But this is the first time that we've been back here, up here. So y'all are learning and I'm learning. I don't know what y'all are supposed to be doing. I had to watch live videos going back to figure out what he did on Wednesday nights. Does he pray to start? What does he do? Huh?
You sound pretty learned to me.
Pretty learned.
Learned it.
All right, so guys, what is this Sunday? Pastor Appreciation Day.
Not church, pastor.
It's Pastor Appreciation Day. We have church. It's not Church Appreciation Day, even though we appreciate this facility God's given us. But it's Church Appreciation Day. And it's any visitors that we have, it's not on them, but it's really on us to make this just the best it can be. I mean, he pours out so much for us, for the people, for total strangers. I mean, he pays people's rent. He does all this different stuff, sends people places, helps missionaries, helps churches in Florida. I mean, he does all this amazing stuff, and most of that stuff is out of his own pocket. That's not coming out of the church, that's out of his own pocket. Both of them are fantastic people. And I don't know when every one of you came here, but I know that we've been here only 9 months, and we have learned so much about just their character that we had no idea about who they are as human beings. And we've fallen in love with them over the past 9 months. So if you've known them for any other amount of time, you know that I'm sure that you fall in love with them too. So that's this Sunday. And tonight is the last night to sign up if you want to bring something. There's a sign-up sheet right in the back, in the middle of the foyer, below the mirror, right by the Pastor Appreciation box, that you can sign it and you can write anything on there that you want to bring. The church is supplying the meats. We're bringing the meat, so you don't have to worry about that. Unless there's just some really awesome brisket you cook, or if you make the best ribs, or if you just want to go to Chili's and bring home a thing of ribs. I mean, whatever you want to do. But the church is supplying the meat, so make something else. Make an apple pie or something like that. I like key lime pie, so if anybody wants to do me a favor, go give me an Edwards pie. But
it's not Assistant Pastor Appreciation Day.
No, anyway, so that's what we're doing. Also, there's that box right there. And it's not about money, guys, but we know times get hard. We know that the best way to show our appreciation is really taking something out of what we need most in this world of Jesus Christ. We need money to buy stuff. Let's just be real. Just a card to Old Navy, a card to Lowe's, a card to Walmart, a gas card, anything. Anything can help them just to show your appreciation and show them you love them. Most of all, more importantly, all of them, pray for them, lift them up, encourage them, speak into their lives. Because the amount that they speak into you, it's hard when you're in a position that nobody's speaking back, that you're always pouring out. You're always pouring out. The Holy Spirit is filling them. And the Holy Spirit's filling me and Rebecca, but it's hard sometimes when you're never sitting down and you're on the receiving end. And when we're always on the receiving end, it's good to pour back out. Okay, so 2 weeks, 1 week after this Sunday is May 13th. During the morning worship service, we're going to have our graduation recognition for our graduates. Be here early. We want to recognize their accomplishments because it is big deals when graduating. May 18th is the ladies' night. It's the Priceless Lady Night. Registration is in the foyer. You can register all the way up to the event, and you can come to the event and not pay. If it's a financial burden for you, that is $10. Just let us know, and we'll take care of it. We'll find a way. We don't want to turn away anybody. But you must prepay by May 13th to be eligible for the door prizes. So you want to make sure you get registered and paid. You can pay by slipping a note into the offering boxes, or you can give online. If you go to our Destiny app, you go to the Give tab. When you select whether you give tithes or for general offering or this or that, you can select Ladies' Night Out or Ladies' Night Priceless, and you can pay $10 to them. Water baptism is May 27th. If you want to be baptized, if you've never been baptized, if you have been baptized but you felt like you've fallen away and you need to redo your first works, you can come, tell me or Pastor Don, and we can get you on the list to be baptized. We have a awesome brand new baptistry that we're going to be setting up right over here, and we're going to be filming baptisms, and it's going to be a great night. And we are super excited about that. But for tonight, I'm super excited about the word that God gave me Sunday night, and this is something that He's been burning in me, and I'm so excited to get to share this with you. You have no idea how excited I am to share this with you. So let's pray, and let's go into this word. Lord Jesus, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your grace and your mercy, God. We thank you for protecting us and keeping us safe through this day. God, I pray that you would just fill this room with your presence, that your river would come in here. And God, that you would wash away every single thing that is a distraction that happened this morning or something that we're thinking about after church. I pray that you would wash all that away and that we would be focused on you and the word that you want us to hear. And God, we're so thankful that you are a loving Savior and that everything we need or ever want is found in your name, is found in the name above all names. And God, we praise you for it and we thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so we're going to start. It's a little bit long, the scripture right here, but it's not much. So we're just going to get through this right here. It's Exodus 3, starting at verse 1 through 7, and then we're going to jump over and read 10 through 14. So one day, Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro, and the priests of Midian. He led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God, Sinai, the mountain of God. Then the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from the middle of a bush. Moses stared in amazement. Though the bush was engulfed in flames, it did not burn. This is amazing, Moses said to himself. Why isn't that bush being burned up? I must go and see it. When the Lord saw Moses coming to take a closer look, God called him from the middle of the bush. Moses, Moses. Here I am, Moses replied. Do not come any closer, the Lord warned. Take off your sandals, for you are standing on holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. When Moses heard this, he covered his face because he was afraid to look at God. Then the Lord told him, I have certainly seen the oppression of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries of distress because of their harsh slave drivers. Yes, I am aware of their suffering. Now we're going to jump over to verse 10. Now go, for I am sending you to Pharaoh. You must lead my people Israel out of Egypt. But Moses protested to God, Who am I to appear before Pharaoh? Who am I to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt? God answered, I will be with you. This is your sign, that I am the one who has sent you. And when you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God at this very mountain. But Moses protested, If I go to the people of Israel and tell them, the God of your ancestors has sent me to you, they will ask me, what is his name? And then what shall I tell them? God replied to Moses, I am who I am. Say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent me to you. And that's an amazing thing in Scriptures. That he's asking, God, what is your name? What should I tell these people? They know me. They know what I've done. They know I killed a Jew. They rejected me. I had to leave Egypt because of it. They remember me, God. What am I supposed to tell these people? And he says, I am who I am. Meaning, you can't change this. You can't change me. You can't add to me. You can't take away. I am who I am. This is who I am. Say this to the people of Israel. I am has sent me to you. This encounter between Moses and the burning bush is one of the most famous things in the Bible. I know that from Noah to Exodus, to Jesus healing people, this is one of the first things you learn about in children's church. This is one of the first things you color in nursery. I mean, this is ingrained in you. This is brought to you early on. Is Moses standing before God in the form of this burning bush, and this bush is speaking to him. And this is one of the first times in Scripture that God reveals his name. Right? Not just his attributes, but his name, I am. It's a name as unusual and surprising to us as it was to Moses. But it's the only name that shows us how we can truly encounter God. I am is just I am blank. That you can fill that blank with whatever you need it to be. Whatever you're missing in your life, that blank can be filled with it. So let's say that you've lost your mother and that you need a mother your mothering figure in your life to go through this journey. Well, God can be that mother to you. If you need a father to go through certain situations in your life and you lost your father, God can be that father. If you've missed anything in your life, God can transform himself to be whatever you need in that moment of your life. That he is that great, he is that powerful, and he can be there for you no matter if anyone else has fallen away, and everyone's fallen away. He can stand still in time and be with you. That whatever you're missing or have lost, he can be that for you. When Moses asked God for a name, he basically wanted to put God into a category that he could understand. God, who are you? Are you Lord? Are you my Savior? Are you my healer? What are you? He needed to find a way to define God upon whatever he already knew. But God flips that idea on his head. He says, in essence, that Moses, you can't define me based on what you already know. I am. That I don't have a beginning. I am. I don't have an ending. I am. That I didn't come from anywhere. I am. That you can't define me based on your reality, but you have to define your reality based on who I am. That I control all of this. This is all of me. And Moses knew insecurity. Moses knew failure. He knew problems. He wasn't this awesome dude who just stormed in there and took the gates down and said, I'm going to take my people and we're going to march out of here and ain't nothing you can do about it. That's not Moses. And reading some of this stuff, Moses was more of a coward and more of human than I ever understood. Moses did not want to do this. He even said, Lord, pardon your servant, but I'm not good with speaking. I can't do this. And he said, well, I'll get somebody else to speak for it. He says, Lord, pardon your servant again. Please send somebody else. And Moses didn't want to do this. So how many times in our lives are God telling us to do this some great and powerful thing, and he's going to use us to do it, but we're too scared to move, we're too scared to do it, because it's bigger than us. It starts with impossible. I mean, but God starts with impossible. It's like, God, I'll do this for you as long as it seems like I can do it. Or as long as the funds are there, as long as I have it in my ability to do it, because if I have just trust in you at any point, that's a little fishy, that's a little scary. But it is scary. So by this time, that he meets God at the burning bush, he's a defeated man. He started out his life good-looking man with a high-paying job, had all these great friends, but things went horribly wrong. He tried to stand up for a Jewish slave, and in the process, he ends up killing this Egyptian soldier, and the Jews reject him, and Pharaoh banishes him. And for the next 40 years, and get that, 40 years. This isn't 4 days, this isn't 4 months, this is 40 years. He's out in this wilderness nursing this baby. So, for 40 years, Moses is wandering around in the wilderness. Like I said, Exodus 4:13, he says, when he comes here, please send somebody else. Why did he say that? He knew the Egyptians, he knew the landscape. If anyone could do this, he could do it. But why did he do it? Because for 40 years, he's out in this wilderness saying, I can't believe I did that. I had so much going for me. I messed this up. I'm a failure. And now his failure, now who he is failure. His identity is now failure. So he's like, God, I can't do this. I need you to send somebody else. This failure has now become part of my identity. I can't leave it. I've been out here thinking about this for 40 years. All he knew was failure. So Moses spent 40 years in Egypt learning how to be somebody, learning how to go after these people, learning how to be high and mighty. And then he gets kicked out, and he spends 40 years in the wilderness learning how to be a nobody. But God couldn't use that person he was before. God couldn't use that person who was prideful and thought he could handle everything and that he was better than everybody. God had to put him out in the wilderness so he could learn how to be a nobody, and so that he could say, God, feel me, I need your strength, I need your help, because I can't do this. I cannot do this. Moses didn't send God a resume and say, hey, I'm the best at this, I can do this, I'm all great. No, the Lord picked Moses out of his pit. He picked him. And how did God overcome this? That it wasn't some script, it wasn't some class, it wasn't the power of positive thinking. He didn't set a mirror in front of Moses and said, you know what, you're strong, you're beautiful, you're powerful, you're a bad man who's not going to take no garbage from anybody. He didn't say any of that stuff. What did he do? What did he tell him? He said simply this: I'm going to be with you. I will be with you. If everybody else fails, if everybody goes away, I am. And I'm going to be with you. That real confidence doesn't come from knowing who you are at all. You can think you're this, and you can think you're that. If you look at the news, people think they're one thing one day, and they think they're another the next. Okay? It doesn't matter who you are. And real confidence doesn't come from you thinking you're something. It comes from knowing that God is with you through it all. That He is coming for you. And that He's going to be with you through thick and thin. Okay, so this is my favorite part. So I'm going to stand up. Alright, so I was thinking about this. Okay, so real confidence. What is real confidence? Okay, real confidence is David. It's David versus Goliath. That is real confidence. Okay, so it's this little Jewish boy. He's the runt of his older brothers. He's out here on the back 40 of his dad's place, and he's holding these lambs or whatever hostage, and he's doing whatever with them, and he's grazing and stuff. And then this bear comes up. So he's just playing around with this sling his dad gave him or whatever, and he's picking up these rocks and throwing. This bear comes up. What does he do? What does he do? He kills the bear. The bear attacks the flock. He kills the bear, takes the sheep back. He leaves the 99 and goes after the one, just like God would. And then he's getting a little better with it. He's, I can do this. This is like becoming part of me. I like this little slingshot. This is cool. Okay? So, and now this lion comes up. So it's more ferocious than a bear. If you had to fight a lion or a bear, what would you fight? A bear. Alright? So this lion comes up, and he's like, oh man, that's bad, but it's alright because I got the slingshot that I can do some cool stuff with. So he kills the lion and takes the sheep back. Okay, so he does all this, and then he hears about this mighty warrior who's taunting all the Israelites in battle. And he's like, I gotta do something about this. So he goes up there, and he comes up to the people, and they're like, you can't fight for this person. You can't fight for Israel. You're nothing but a runt. That's who they saw him as. That was his identity. He was the runt of the group. All he knew how to do was swing a slingshot and kill little animals. They said, no, you don't know who I am. You don't know what I've done. You don't know what I've been through. I can do this. Because it was the slingshot that killed the bear. It was the slingshot that killed the lion. But it was faith that killed Goliath. It was faith that killed Goliath. So this is what he does. This is what he does. This is so cool. Okay? So his identity is a little shepherd boy. A little shepherd boy isn't beating a Goliath. A man who is so ever feet tall, 10 feet tall or 9 feet tall or something like that. This little, it's not going to fight. You're not going to put your money on that. That battle's going on. You're going to watch it. Okay? So, what does he do? He says, I'm never going to beat this guy with who I am. So the first thing he does is he steps out of his identity. He's like, I can't do this on my own. I'm stepping out of who I am. But what do the Israelites try to do? They say, you can't defeat that person with your identity, but we're going to put the king's armor on you. We're going to put his armor on you, so when you go out to war, they're going to think, that's the king, and they're going to be intimidated. So we're going to put the king's identity on you. He said, no, I don't want the king's identity. I'm stepping out of my identity, but I don't want his. I'm putting on the Lord's identity. That is the identity I'm putting on. Because if I know that I am is with me, I know that I can add at the end of that, I am victorious. And when I know that he is victorious and he is in me, then I put on the identity of a victor. So I know that even though I'm not anything, I can walk in I am, and I can be somebody. Okay? So he steps out of who he is, he rejects the king's identity, and he puts on the identity of I am. Okay? And what does he say to Goliath? This is the coolest part. He says, you come at me with slings and stones and swords and spears and javelin, but I come at you with the name of the Lord Almighty. I don't come at me as this little shepherd boy who could kill this bear and this lion. I come with you with the name above all names. And my name right now is victorious because I put on his identity. And if we would put on his identity before we went to war, it wouldn't matter about what we used to do. It wouldn't matter about what we used to be. It wouldn't matter about what that person said about us. It wouldn't matter that I've been divorced 3 times. It would matter that I had put on his identity, and his identity now lives in me. That is who we can put on. So Moses said to God, who am I? And God says to Moses, so Moses says to God, who am I that I'm going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to fight? And God says to Moses, Moses, it doesn't matter who you are. You're missing the point. It matters who I am. Okay? And then Moses starts to say, Lord, I'm not eloquent or smart or successful. And God says, I didn't choose you because you were any of those things. You're still missing the point. That I've got enough of those kind of people for us to both deal with. I got the people who think they can preach better than pastors, so they're going to split off and go make their own church. I got people who think they can do whatever they want to in the church because they think they're somebody. I got enough of those people to deal with. I need you to be a vessel. I need you to be clear. I need you to be ready to be filled up so I can pull you out. God doesn't want the guy who wants his own publicity. He wants the guy who knows he's an empty vessel. That feeling inadequate is actually a prerequisite for being used by God. So God says to Moses, and he says to you and me like this, that I'm the God of very unpromising material. That you think you're unskilled, lacking courage, you're not very good, you don't even know half of it. So you're so weak you can't even guarantee tomorrow. Does anybody know what's going to happen tomorrow? No, we're weak. We can't even think past what's going to happen at the end of this service. You're like a wisp of smoke, a blade of grass in the scope of the universe. You're smaller than a grain of sand. But it's not about you, because you are not. You are not, and I am not. But He is.
Amen.
He is. If we can understand that, then we can kill Goliaths. We can kill all these things. We can have blood on our sword every time we go out to battle. But if we think that we're something and we're going to start doing these things because I'm better than my neighbor or I can speak in tongues, you're going to fail.
Amen.
You're going to fall. Okay? Whatever you're not, whatever you need, whatever you didn't get from your parents, whatever you're not getting from somebody else, God says, I am. So look at this. Who can I trust? I am. I'm not sure who is really on my team. I am. Nobody's listening to me. I am. How am I supposed to know which way to go? I am. My marriage is crashing and I don't know where to turn. I am. I'm 50 years old and I feel like I'm starting all over. I am. What if I fail again? I am. I'm not sure if I believe anymore. I am. I've given all that I can give and it's not enough. I am. I'm not talking to anybody.
Come on.
I'm pouring out to everybody, but nobody's pouring into me. I am. I can't hold on. I'm tired. I quit. I need a drink. I need a fix. I need a hit. I need a lover. I need a fresh start. I need somebody to hold me. I am. He is simply I am. In a gospel that is so simple that babies can understand it, but that is so deep that we could spend years and years and years only studying that word, those two words, and we would never, ever comprehend it. That's how simple it is. He is simply I am. Okay, if we can go to the next slide, Casey. I want you to look at this. This is something that we've been talking with the middle schoolers and the youth for the last 4 weeks. Tonight is the end of this. This is the last lesson. And it's just totally blown their world. And I felt like we needed to look at it tonight. So what we're talking about is being hooked. There's this temptation that God puts in front of you. We're telling all the kids and all those teenagers that there are these little Christian fish. And they're just swimming, and they're swimming, they're just enjoying life, and this worm drops down in front of them. Okay? But that worm doesn't look like a hook. It's a worm. I enjoy worms. I like worms. Worms are good. I'm a fish. Okay? So I bite that. But what do I realize when I bite it? That there's a hook in it. And it jerks me, and it grabs me, and it pulls me out of my environment. And if I'm lucky, I make it back. And I'm thrown in, and I got a big hole in my mouth, and I'm embarrassed, and I'm hurting. And I'm less than I was before I got hooked. So this is the process. At the top, you hooked. You fall into temptation. Okay? And from that point, you start to go down. That, Lord, I can't believe I did that. I was following you so perfectly. I was reading my Bible every day. I was praying every day. I was so faithful in my obedience to you, and I got hooked, and now I'm going downhill. And you get to that first line, and under that line, it starts a couple of things. First, it's guilt. God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? And then you go a little farther and you get into embarrassment. And you feel like, even though nobody knows the sin you did, it feels like there's a million cameras on you. And it feels like every single person in the world knows. My youth pastor knows, my pastor knows, my parents know, my spouse knows, everybody knows. And that you're hurting and you're broken and you know that it's not over. So you get out the bottom and you're shameful. God, I don't even want to bother you anymore. I'm sorry. I can't come back to you. I can't come back to you. I promised you that I wasn't going to do it again. I promised you that I was never going to go back to the sin. I promised, God. I promised. I broke my promise. You are the God who never fails. You are the God who never hurts. You are the God who never breaks his promises, like Nellie talked about. You are the God who keeps the promise. But I have broken my promise. I can't come back to you. And then you start going into isolation, that you are the only person in the world who deals with this sin. Has anybody ever felt like that? This is out of just a lesson, but I hate every one of these. And I feel like there is nobody in the world that knows who I really am. There is nobody in the world who knows what I'm really going through. And anyone else could possibly go through this sin as well. I'm isolated. The same devil that dropped that hook in there, the same one who hooked it and said, you know what, I put your favorite thing on there. I put your favorite thing on there. Just go in that room. Shut the door behind you. Just look. Look what I put up there for you. It's good. It's wonderful. You're going to enjoy it. Encouraging you to take that bait is the same devil that now you're at the bottom of the circle and he's saying, I can't believe you did that. You're disgusting. You're worthless. How could you ever call yourself a follower of God? How could you ever call yourself a Christian? You promised. You promised and you failed. What does Satan's name mean? It's the accuser. It's him standing there going after God saying, you know what your son did? You know what your daughter did? That daughter said she loved you beyond anything, and guess what I saw them do? I saw them turning their back on you and turning their face to me and following me. Can you believe that, God? I never saw it coming. I really didn't see it coming, but did you see it coming, God? But time makes everything better. A couple days have passed, maybe a day has passed, maybe you slept on it, you wake up in the morning, and you're coming up that hill, and you get over that line, and you're saying, you know what? No, I'm not going back. You listen to some worship music, you had a good time, you had a good service on the way to work in your car, and you're like, God, I'm not going back. I'm moving forward in Jesus. Never going to go back to that sin. I'm sick of it. God, you know I hate it. You see my heart, God. You know my heart. You know I didn't actually want to do that. And what does he do? In this infinite amount of grace that never runs dry, what does he do? He forgives. He forgives you. He says, you know what? I did see your heart. I see your heart now. And I know these tears are real tears. And I know that shame was real shame. And I know that guilt was real guilt. I forgive you. So you're getting back up again. And you're like, man, I'm doing good. I'm following Jesus. I got my church clothes on and I'm going 100 miles an hour. And then we get hooked again. And it's a cycle over and over and over and over. And people go years in the cycle. Years in the cycle. I spent 7 or 8 years on one thing in this cycle. Years. People go to, maybe they've been so good in high school, and they go to college and they say, you know what, I'm just gonna party in college. I'm just gonna do what I want to do in college. And they grab this baggage on them and they don't know what to do. And they're like, man, this baggage is so heavy. You know what? I don't want it anymore. God, I'm following you. I want you. I desire you. And then you get hooked again. And you pick this baggage right back up. And then you're doing something else that maybe you just started off with something small and now it's something big. And you put this on as well. And it's heavy and it hurts. And you're shameful. But what happens eventually? It gets light. And this horrible sin and shame that you are falling in It doesn't seem that bad anymore. Because this baggage has now become my identity. And it's hard to kick something off when it feels like it's a part of you, you know? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? So, if it's like a monkey on your back, you can get it off real quick and you can shoo it off, whatever, get away. But if it's a part of you now, if you like it, I told the youth, there is no sin that don't look good, taste good, or feel good. Ain't none of them. They all look good, they all taste good, and they all feel good. Yeah. So, why would we not take the hook? I told somebody, if there was Raising Cane's right here, and I'm in the middle of preaching, it don't matter, there's Raising Cane's right here. Amen, Dion? Alright, so there's Raising Cane's right here. I'm going to be dipping some fries and some sausage, okay? And I'm going to be preaching too. Why? Because that's my favorite. Now my favorite is Raising Cane's, alright? But what happens when the devil knows what your favorite is? So he puts it on that hook and he drops it in front of you. And he's not going to tempt me with the same thing he tempts you as. Because we don't struggle with the same thing. We don't struggle with it. But he's going to find out just once what I looked at in the corner of my eye. What I noticed. He notices everything. Even the subtle movements, even the subtle watches, even you pushing your buggy and Sam's and you're looking at the girl's butt. Or you at the gym and the guy's working out beside you and you're like, man, that's nice. Okay? He notices. And it's like, man, that's probably not a big deal. That's nothing. I'm not falling into temptation. I'm not pursuing that person. He notices though. And you're right. You're right. So maybe that girl's walking in whatever, or that nice fine dude is walking whatever, and you just notice. All right. He noticed that. So he said, there's a little something more to this than what they've been leading on. So I'm going to drop this movie right here. Or I'm going to drop this ad right here. Or I'm going to drop this link right here. Just to see. And they clicked it. Or they looked. Or they're spending more time on it. Maybe there's something more. And then you find yourself in this circle. Over and over and over again. For years. Okay? So Judas, what did he do? He's a betrayer. Now his identity is betraying somebody. This is Judas Iscariot. He just betrayed Jesus. And now he figures out, I can't wear this identity. I'm going to kill myself. Same sin. Peter over here. He's a denier. His identity is now a denier. And he goes back to doing what he used to do because he knows that I can't take this identity to where I'm going. I can't take this identity and be a follower of Jesus anymore. So I'm just going to go back to what I used to do. I'm just going to be a fisherman. And I like what Pastor Don said when he was talking about this unfailing love, is that Peter is out fishing all night long again and can't catch any fish. And Jesus says, hey, I got breakfast ready on the shore. Why don't you come look? He searched all night for fish. He's a fisherman. You would think he would know how to catch fish. But Jesus had it on the shore the whole time. So we get in this circle. And what do we do coming up? I promise. I'm going to try harder. I won't fail you this time, God. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to be better. I'm going to put these things out of my life. I'm going to do good this time. But we still fail. And Pastor Don said this. He said, here I am working all night, struggling for something Jesus already had on the shore. I'm in this circle, working for years, trying to do better, trying to find forgiveness, trying to make myself holy in the eyes of God, when forgiveness is on the shore the whole time. But when we're on the circle, we're blinded to everything else in the room. We're blinded to the hand of God trying to bring us in. We're blinded to everything. And we're like, you know what? I just have to try harder. If I just try harder. But you are not. He is. His identity is what you need. So this is what we do. We grab this sin and we come in. We're like, God, you know this sin. And I'm tired of it. I hate it. And I come to this altar. And I cry, and I shout, and I run, and I jump, and I find my forgiveness, I'm transformed, I lay it down. He said, all right, I'm doing better. I'm going out and I'm going to do better, I'm going to try harder. And you pick it and you take it right back out. You walk right out those doors, and then you find yourself in the circle wondering, why can't I do this? But why did we pick it up in the first place? We lay it down, saying, God, forgive me, I'm sorry. And we ugly cry, and we run, we shout and scream. We promise we will never do it again. Okay? But why do we pick it back up? It's our identity. It's who we are now. We would have to leave our whole body there. I was at a youth conference in 2013, and I was at the altar, and I knew there was some things in my life I had to lay down. And I remember that being the lowest, most sickest feeling in my life, knowing that, telling God, I can't lay him down. I want to lay it down, I really do, but I can't. Because I'm not going to embarrass myself, and I'm not going to embarrass you. And I refuse to earn and pimp off your grace for the rest of my life. I would rather know who I am than be fake. I'm not going to be fake. So I said, God, I can't ask for forgiveness because I'm not going to abuse your grace anymore. And I took my sin and I left. Because I didn't want to make no empty promises. I didn't want to give God a promise I knew I was going to fail. I knew when I went home I was going to sin. I knew it. I knew it. Why? Because I've been to this altar millions of times. That's an overstatement. I've been to this altar hundreds of times. Okay? And every time I picked it back up, the problem wasn't God. The problem wasn't the devil. The problem was me. Because I knew more about this than I did about God. I knew more about this identity on my back that has now become my whole identity. Just like Moses knew this little identity and this little problem, but he got caught up in the wilderness for 40 years. And that little sin in high school, or that little sin in college, or that thing that happened to you from a family member when you were little, now you're carrying that baggage your whole life in this circle, and you don't even know how to get out because you don't even know how you got in. And you're walking away sick, and you're promising God, the next time I'm going to do better. But the key to your victory is not trying harder. The key to your victory is not doing better next time, okay? It is forgetting who you are and remembering who He is. That's it. You see how simple that is? But why do we not understand that? Why can't we grasp that? I have no idea why we can't grasp that. It's forgetting who you are. I am nothing. You are nothing. But He is. And if He is, then why am I even trying? Why am I even trying? Why can't I just say, God, who am I? You send me. I'll do anything. But we make these promises when we're feeling good, when we know we're not going to sin because we're in the presence of God. But once the presence leaves, and the temptation comes back, and we have to make a choice. If you are not actively pursuing God and seeking Him with all your might, sin is always going to look better than Jesus. Always. You say, God, I can't believe you said that. There's no one better looking than Jesus. I want to worship Him. I want to give Him my all. Lucifer, when he was in heaven, he made music when he moved. He was the angel that gave worship to God. He started these worship services in heaven. When he simply moved, he made music. You don't think he can make something sound good? You don't think he can make something look good? You don't think he can make this movie seem less bad? Try. When you know who He is, you know who you are. Your identity, if we go back to the I am, your identity is found in I am. Search that, look that, do everything you can to find does that mean. David knew he could not defeat Goliath with who he was. So what did he do? He stepped out of who he was. He rejected the armor of the king and the identity of the king because the king's identity and the identity of the people weren't going to get him anywhere. So he said, I'm going to put on God's identity. I'm going to put on the I am identity, because if I know that I am victorious, then I can be a victor. Okay? When you know who he is, you know who you are. That the key to your victory is his identity. His identity is the key to your victory. Okay? When I know that he is liberated, I can be liberated. When I know that he is forgiveness, I can be forgiven. I know that when he is victory, I can be victorious. When I know that he has overcome the world, I can be an overcomer. But we carry this bondage and this sin around our whole life. But he didn't come just to forgive us for our sin. But he came to destroy the penalty of bondage. He came to take us out of our sin. That yes, we can be forgiven our sin, but we don't have to live in it any longer. Okay? Yeah, maybe we can get to heaven with our sin, and maybe we can. I'm not here to debate that, but I know that I don't have to live in the sin anymore. He doesn't want us to live in the sin anymore. That we don't have to go through our whole Christian life in this circle trying to be used by God, but can't, because we can't get out of our own mess and we can't get out of our own way. People say that, the devil is tripping me up. This person is tripping me up. This person is tripping me up. I can't walk with God because all these problems around me. You are the only person who can decide in your life, are you going to follow God or are you going to follow the ways of this world? And don't ever try to give the devil too much credit, because it is you who are causing these problems. It is you who are looking at this sin, okay? And if nobody gets it, I'm getting it, because I'm preaching to myself. Ain't nobody's fault but me. If I'm not where I want to be with God in a year from now, ain't nobody's problem with me. Judas had the best pastor, he had the best preacher, he had the best everything. But he fell away because he decided, I'm going to walk away. It has nothing to do with this church you go to. You might can say, you know what, this isn't getting good preaching. I'm not learning what I'm supposed to be learning. I'm going to go somewhere else and try something else. Good luck. They have the same problems we do. I promise. Okay? The church we came from to come here, we got the same problems in. Because it's just human problems. But we think that we can find a better way. We think we can go a better way. We think we can make it on our own. We can't. When I know that he is love, I can understand that I can be loved. So, Jesus comes and he says, Pharisees ask him, who are you? And he says, I am. And they live out. And they're like, he could have said anything. He probably could have said that he was God, and they would have been like, it's another crazy person. But he said, I am. And they said, oh, we know what that means. We know the power in those two words. We know what that really means. You're saying you're forever. You're saying that only you can forgive my sin. And they flip out, and they try to kill him. They succeed. It was all part of the plan. But Jesus is I am. God is I am. That I don't have to come to him with these crazy amount of words. I don't have to speak in these and thous and talk like I'm a preacher to come to him. I can come to him like he's my best friend. Like I can sit down with him and say, God, I had a rough day today. My friend betrayed me. God, let me just talk to you. And I think that we get so glad about the idea of going and praying because we got to come up with all this stuff and we got to tell him how glorious and awesome he is. He knows. And you should. There should be reverence. Approach him because he is holy. But I think sometimes more than anything, you get home and he just says, tell me how your day was. I already know, but I just want to hear from you. And that's that love. When I know that who he really is, I don't have to go looking for my identity in clothes. I don't have to find my identity in a man. I don't have to find my identity in sex or a woman. I don't have to look at a computer screen to find my identity. I don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on purses that hold my garbage, okay, or anything else. I know that my identity is found in Him. It's found in Him. There's nothing you can put on to make you better. There's nothing you can drink to make you better. No pill you can take. No workout you can do. When your identity is found in Him, you know who you really are. And that's a child of the King. And can't nobody tell you any less. So remember that. When you're fighting whatever battle, when you're fighting the devil, when you're fighting people, it says, I know who my Father is. I know who my daddy is. My daddy is I am. And He's never going to fail me. He's never going to let me down. He's running after me. He's kicking doors down. He's fighting tooth and nail, clawing at everything to get to me. Now, when I know that He is liberation, I know that I can be liberated. When I know that He is victory, I know that I'm victorious. When I know that He is forgiveness, I know that I can be forgiven. When I know that He has overcome the world, I know that I'm an overcomer. When I know that He has sacrificed not only for my sin, but also the bondage of sin, then I know I don't have to carry luggage around or baggage around anymore. That I'm not a slave to my old self anymore. When I know that He is love, I can understand that I am loved. You are not, but He is. And that He deserves everything. So remember that. I am not, but He is. Let's pray. God, we thank You for the simple fact that I can explain this to a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, maybe even a 2-year-old. And they could understand that He is and I'm not. That I can fail and I can mess up, but He's still forgiveness, and that means I can still be forgiven. God, I pray that You would help us to understand who You really are. Because there are people in this world, and there's people in this room who's searching for, God, who am I? What am I supposed to do with this life? I feel like I'm starting all over again. Who am I? And Lord, I pray that You would lead them to these scriptures and that they would search out who You really are. Because when we know You, we know ourselves. We're made in the image of God. And that when we see You, we really see us. And that we know that we can take on Your victory, Your courageousness, Your courage. Because when Your Son died on that cross, He got what we deserved. And we got what He deserved. So now we can walk in that power. And now we can come to You boldly and lovingly and vulnerable, just like Your Son would. Saying, God, I just need to talk to You. I just need to let You know how things are going because they're not going good. And I need some encouragement. Not from anyone else, not from Stephen Furtick, not from T.D. Jakes. I need encouragement from You. And I want You to speak into my life. Lord, we thank You for the people who come out tonight. I pray that they will not forget this word. I pray that I don't forget this word, God. I need this word just as much as anyone in this room. I cannot do this on my ability. I cannot do anything on my own ability. I will mess everything up. I will destroy everything. But I know if I trust in You, You will make a way, and that You will empower me. I just call on Your name. That this world and this enemy comes at me with spears and swords and javelins. But I come against this world in the name of the Lord Almighty. That name which is I am. That name which I am not, but He is. So Lord, I pray You protect everybody, keep them safe. We thank You for Your grace and Your mercy. I pray that everybody will leave this place excited to come back into the house of the Lord and be with Jesus tonight when they go to sleep. In Jesus' name I ask. Amen. Amen. Love you guys. Don't forget Pastor Appreciation next Sunday. Don't forget to sign up. Bring something to eat. Banana pudding, key lime pie, lemon meringue. Anything with the word pie behind it, I like it. Even meat pies. No big list.